welcome to the deep dive. For literally centuries, humanity's been on this quest, this often really challenging search for a cure for baldness. I mean, you look back at ancient Egypt, they were mixing dates, dog's paw, donkey's hoof.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Celts tried mice in jars. Native Americans used yucca juice. It's really been an age-old thing.
It really has. And it's not just ancient history, is it? Today, hair loss is still a huge concern. It affects people deeply, tied into aging, stress, hormones, genetics. And for years, the options, things like Rogaine, Propecia, they've offered, well, pretty limited hope, honestly.
Right. You hear stories, maybe they work for less than a third of people, or you just get that kind of fine peach fuzz.
Exactly, that peach fuzz. The market's been crying out for something truly different.
And that is precisely what we're diving into today, because it looks like things might be about to seriously change. UCLA genetic scientists, well, they might have found something, maybe a kind of molecular alarm clock that could wake up dormant hair follicles. So our mission here is to unpack how they're doing this, how they're reawakening hibernating follicles, and, what this could really mean for treating hair loss.
Okay, so at the heart of this UCLA work is this really interesting small molecule. It's a tiny compound, small enough to get right in there at the cellular level, and it seems to have this amazing ability to wake up hair follicles that have been dormant for a long time, but importantly, aren't actually damaged.
Okay, so not damaged, just sleeping.
Pretty much. We're talking about the stem cells within the follicle. Those are the real engines for hair growth. And they've given this molecule a name, PP405.
PP405. Huh. Sounds almost like a freeway exit here in LA. But okay, a memorable name for something potentially huge. So how does it actually work? What's the mechanism?
Well, the mechanism is pretty elegant when you break it down. PP405 specifically goes after and sort of inhibits a particular protein inside those hair follicle stem cells. You can think of that protein as like a molecular off switch. It's what keeps the stem cells quiet, dormant, not making hair.
Okay, so PP405 flips the switch.
Essentially, yes. By inhibiting that protein, it basically tells the cells, okay, time to get back to work, pushing them into their active growth phase to produce, real full hair. Yeah. And it's worth saying, this wasn't some overnight thing. The lab work on this specific molecule, it's been going on for almost a decade.
Wow, a decade. That's serious dedication. It underlines that these big breakthroughs usually come from that kind of long, hard slog, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And we should definitely give credit where it's due. The UCLA scientists are William Lowry. He's a professor in molecular, cell, and developmental biology.
Right.
Heather Christofk, professor of biological chemistry, and Michael Jung, who's a distinguished professor of chemistry. Quite the team.
A real interdisciplinary effort bringing different angles together.
Exactly. So with all that background work, when did PP405 actually jump from the lab into, testing on actual people?
That happened pretty recently, actually. The first human trials kicked off in 2023. The way they did it was applying PP405 as a topical medicine, so directly onto the scalp.
Okay, a cream or a lotion sort of thing.
Something like that. And the protocol was surprisingly simple. Just once a day, at bedtime, for only 1 week.
1 week. That sounds incredibly fast for this kind of treatment. Were the researchers, I don't know, were they even expecting results that quickly? Any skepticism there?
Well, they reported what they called statistically significant results from that 1 week.
Okay.
And what's really getting people excited, and this is a big deal in the hair loss world, is their confidence that this treatment grows proper, full, terminal hair.
Yeah. So not the peach fuzz we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Not that thin, wispy stuff you sometimes get with other treatments. This is potentially the real deal. Professor Lowry himself talked about this. He acknowledged that, thinning hair hits most men and women eventually, or it can happen after chemo, infection, stress, and it really affects them psychologically.
That psychological impact is huge.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he was quite candid, actually. He admitted that at first he and the team worried PP405 might actually, kill the follicles entirely.
Whoa. Okay, that would be bad.
Yeah, a major concern. But he added they were very happy to be wrong about that.
I bet. That's reassuring. And it kind of shows how science works, right? You have these worries, you test carefully, and sometimes you get a pleasant surprise.
Precisely. It's that careful step-by-step discovery process.
So thinking about the impact then, who really stands to benefit here? It sounds like it could be much broader than just, say, male pattern baldness.
Oh, absolutely broader. I mean, just tackling standard pattern hair loss is massive in itself. You're talking over half of all men and maybe a quarter of all women by the time they hit 50. That's astonishing.
Huge numbers.
Huge. But yeah, it goes beyond genetics. The potential is there to help people losing hair because of things like chemo, certain infections, or other big physical stressors.
That really does open up hope for a lot of different people. But, with any new biotech, especially in this area, you always need a bit of realism. What are the researchers saying about expectations?
Yeah, Professor Lowry is careful about that. He's clear. No such product will work for everyone. That's just biology, right? Everyone's different.
Right, no magic bullets.
Exactly. But he does stress that those first human trials they ran down in Orange County, they were very encouraging. And of course, larger trials are still needed. They're still coming, which naturally leads to the next big question. How does something like this get from the lab to, well, to you?
That's always the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the multi-million-dollar question here.
Yeah.
A discovery is one thing, but getting it to market. What's the plan for PP405?
Well, the commercial side is already moving pretty seriously. UCLA has this technology transfer group. Their whole job is turning university research into actual products. Through that group, the scientists involved have co-founded a company, a medical development company called Pelage Pharmaceuticals.
Pelage Pharmaceuticals, okay.
And it's not just a small startup hoping for the best. They've got some serious backing. Google Ventures is involved.
Google Ventures, wow, okay, that's significant.
It is. And last year, Pelage raised $16.4 million in funding.
16 million. That's quite the war chest.
It really is. And that money is specifically for pushing through more clinical trials and navigating all the regulatory hurdles, getting the green light from the FDA and bodies like that.
Having that kind of funding, especially with a name like Google Ventures behind it, must make a huge difference in just speeding things up, navigating that whole complex process.
Absolutely. It gives them the resources to do it properly, to run the big, expensive trials you need. Professor Lowry is realistic about the timeline, though. He says FDA approvals always take some time, as they should.
And you want them to be thorough, obviously.
Exactly. Safety and proving it works, that's paramount. But he finishes by saying, but it will be worth waiting for.
It really sounds like it might be. What strikes me as so interesting about this whole thing is the approach. It's not just trying to slow loss or force some temporary growth. It's about reawakening something that's already there but dormant.
That's the core idea.
It feels different, less like fighting a losing battle, more like restarting an engine. Potential restoration, not just prevention.
Precisely. Thinking bigger picture, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Our bodies have lots of these kinds of slumbering or hibernating cells in different tissues. Cells that aren't dead but aren't really active either. If we can figure out the right molecular signals, these sort of alarm clocks like PP405, what else could we potentially reactivate or awaken in the future?
That is a fascinating thought. What other restorative processes could we unlock? It hints at a whole different way of thinking about health and aging, maybe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So from those ancient Egyptian pastes and mice in jars to this cutting-edge molecular science, humanity's search for a fix for baldness has been one long, persistent story.
A very long story.
And it feels like maybe after all this time, we could actually be getting close. Close to turning that very old dream into something